Hey guys, this is Shaft, and welcome back. Actually, it's been a couple of days since the last time you saw this casted. I know we promised you a 5-part series, and we're definitely going to take care of that, but we were running a little bit overtime of those first 3 games. We're back, though. It is going to be myself, SG, Matt C. How you doing, Matt?
Doing well. How about you?
Doing well. How's Sensory Gaming?
We actually have a bronze, silver, gold tournament on Saturday.
All right.
That's going to be pretty fun.
What's the date of that, just so people know?
That is February 23rd. It will be at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, which would be 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Awesome, awesome. Appreciate that, man. And also with us is our professional commentator, White Wing. How are you, Joel?
I'm doing fairly well. Quite well, actually.
Glad to hear that, man. Glad to hear that. Well, today we're actually bringing to you another game from Starcraft2Strategy.com. The player is actually one you saw earlier. I believe it was game number 2. It is going to be the blue Protoss here, Stuzh. And he's in the top left-hand corner of Entombed Valley. Now, on the bottom right-hand corner, we have someone announcing Yolo. That it does stand for You Only Live Once. He is the red Zerg player on the bottom right. Very dumb expression, but to each their own, I suppose.
And he is, in fact, a Grandmaster Zerg.
Indeed, sir. Indeed. So, this is a game Stuzh is very, very happy about. He thinks he played very, very well. So, we'll see exactly what he's got planned in store for this Zerg and what the Zerg is going to do to respond. What are your thoughts here? We actually got a pull before hatch coming for the Zerg.
I mean, that's standard on this matchup. You kind of need to do that if you don't want to, because if he sends a scouting probe out, because you can get your hatchery blocked if you try to hatch first.
Indeed.
And if they open with a forge first build before Nexus, you can get cannon rushed, and there's almost no way to stop a proper cannon rush if you open hatch first.
Absolutely. Stu's not even interested in blocking that hatchery, it seems. Alright, so he's going Nexus first here. Both players going with that economic build like you were discussing. He is coming over here to get in position for this Forge as well. But overall, what I was asking about are, it's Entombed Valley. Protoss gets a pretty easy third, so we're definitely going to see this go into a macro game in all likelihood. But what are your thoughts as far as strategies in this cross-map positions?
Well, first of all, this is a very, very good map for Protoss out of all the maps in the map pool. There's very little airspace between bases. It's easy to defend the 3 bases, which makes Mutalisks a little bit less viable.
Right.
It's easy to bounce back and forth once you've taken out the rocks on the ramp between your third and your natural. And there's 2 ramps going up, both of which can be easily walled off, which makes defending against Roach or Hydra pressure a lot easier.
Right. And
there's not a lot of space in your bases to put, say, a Nidus Worm or something. So there's a lot of... it's very easy to defend, especially with sentries on this map.
Indeed. Oh, I hit back by accident there, guys. Sorry about
that. Which basically means that Protoss just generally wants to take a 3rd base, not because all-in attacks on 2 bases are weak, necessarily, but because generally 3 base plays are a bit stronger.
Alright. And we've definitely got that Cyber Core coming down now as well. So once we see the Cyber Core finish up, we can actually expect to see any kind of aggression, or I'm sorry, not aggression, tech from Stuzh, and that will allow him to put aggression on later in the game if he so chooses. Interesting to note, though, he's only taken 1 gas at this point. Is this fairly normal?
It's not really the most standard of builds. Generally, players take 2 gases after their gateway. But it's not really that far off. It's just that he wants to focus more on getting probes out and getting some important structures down, maybe a heavier gateway count, rather than getting early upgrades.
Gotcha. Now, we do have a Stalker being chronoed out. This is going to point to that early aggression we were talking about. What are your thoughts on the chrono there?
He wants to get it out very quickly. He wants to put on some very early pressure. You can see that he totally walled himself in, so that his units can be out on the map without having to worry about dying to a counterattack.
Right.
He's got the 2 cannons so that one can take down the rock while the other defends, and that if a heavy roach aggression comes when he doesn't have sentries, because his gas count is going to be low.
Okay.
So he can't really afford sentries. So the second cannon's also to help defend without sentries.
Understood. Now, he's got the 2 cannons there. Is he really worried about aggression, or is he just trying to stay super safe?
He's not necessarily worried about aggression, but with skipping the sentry, by not having the gas count for it, means that you have to have something, because if roaches do show up, you just instantly lose.
Gotcha. Now we do have an overlord being sacrificed to the Protoss gods. YOLO, at least for that overlord.
Yeah. I mean, he's just going ahead and just to put some pressure on this third. He wants to get out of there now, because if he gets surrounded with those lings, those units are just going to die.
Right, and actually it looks like the lings may indeed at least get the zealot. It looks like the stalker is going to get away.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a robo about 3/4 of the way through. About 3/4 of the way through warp gate as well. Do you think we're going to see an immortal sentry?
The fact that he's just now taking a second gas means that he definitely can't afford it. It looks to me like he wants to take a very fast third base, which is why he's been working on this rock so long. Why he's delayed the minerals, so that he can afford the third base and then get a gateway wall up at the ramp on the third.
Okay.
He just wants to take a super fast third, and then he's gonna start pumping out immortals and sentries and other units after that to defend that base.
Gotcha. Now we do have a macro hatch, a roach warren, and an evolution chamber coming out for YOLO now. He is on 3 bases with a fairly good drone count, so it looks like we're going to be expecting nothing but an army here in the future for YOLO for quite some time. He's probably expecting Stuzh to do some kind of timing attack, but with this Ling aggression here, he is seeing that, you know, there's actually a third base coming, so he can kind of put that idea to rest, maybe eke out a couple extra drones.
Oh, absolutely. Unless he's going to be going all in on right now, which is very difficult to do on this map.
Right.
He's just going to throw down that macro hatch. He's just going to pump a drone. He's going to take a 4th base.
And there's the 4th going down, yep.
And he's just going to macro and get himself set up for a late game.
Absolutely. Now, we've got +1 Carapace coming, but he is temporarily supply blocked. He's got 6 overlords on the way, though, so it's not going to be something he has to worry about for very long.
No, he's set up nice and well. Stuzh is taking this third base within view of the overlord that was over it. Tells him flat out there's just absolutely no aggression going to come. He's going to get up to his perfect drone count. He's going to tech rapidly. He's going to be in a fantastic position to hold off any pressure by the time pressure is actually capable of coming forth.
Now, he's sitting at 71 drones right now. What would you say the perfect drone count is?
Generally in the mid game, you want to go up a little bit higher than that if you can, and you're not worried about pressure, because then you'll bank up some minerals for a little while. It'll help your tech go a little bit faster, and then you'll convert the excess drones into spines and spore crawlers.
Gotcha. Well, he's got 13 on the way, so I think he was listening to you there. Now, it's interesting to note there are actually 3 evolution chambers, all working on upgrades here. This is a little unusual.
Yeah, I'm not really. It's very unusual. I'm not exactly sure what that signifies. Unless he's going to be doing some like roach ling and just really wants to have good upgrades. This is kind of cute because it can allow you to do heavy roach attacks, and then it allows your transition to say ultralisks or broodlords to be very powerful because they'll also have great upgrades.
Right, and he's actually finishing up pathogen glands now and getting that hive. So I think he's trying to do that exactly the way you described.
Yeah, the upgrades don't benefit the infested Terrans anymore. So unless he's going to consistently make roaches or hydralisks, and that this little roach force we see here isn't just for defense, getting the range upgrade doesn't make much sense.
Understood.
So he probably wants to have his options open for a longer game and make whatever unit he feels appropriate at whatever point in time.
Gotcha. So right now we've actually got the Spire coming as well as 10 spine crawlers. So with all this being said, what's broodlords?
If you were in vertical positions and not cross positions, broodlords would almost always be the correct choice.
Okay.
I think broodlords are generally a better choice than ultralisks on this map. But this map in particular has so much open space in the middle that it makes broodlord pushing a little bit harder.
Okay.
So it might be ultralisks, especially since he's also getting the melee upgrades.
Fair enough.
I mean, with this wall that he has here, it's probably going to be broodlords.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about Stuzh then. He's working on Colossi, Charge, Thermal Lance. He's getting his +2 armor, his +3 attack. Wow. So the Charge, that's more going to be for harassment with Warp Prisms, you think? Or is he going to be switching into something more Zealot heavy?
I don't think so. I actually think he's probably going to be going into a big 3-base attack to try to kill before broodlord's ready.
Okay.
Charge, at this timing, is gotten more common recently. It tends to be very good for this type of attack, where the opponent is stocking up supply, is saving up instead of maxing out for a little bit. It gives the Zealot some nice beefy power, whereas they normally wouldn't have it.
Okay.
But it's not generally, doesn't really usually increase the strength of the harass too much.
Okay, understood. So yeah, we actually haven't seen any kind of Warp Prism drops lately. However, okay. Little bit of a interest here. There's a Templar Archive on the way.
Yep. The fact that he's taking this 4th base indicates that if he's gonna do the 3-base attack, it's not. He doesn't want it to be all in. I've seen players like Creator do this a bunch.
Okay.
Well, they'll take the 4th base, but then they'll go to do the attack anyway if they smell a little bit of weakness. That said, his opponent at the time is basically maxed out and doesn't have any of the broodlords out, although he's got a bunch of corruptors. So unless he sacrifices some supply, he can't really make very many.
Yeah, it almost seems like the corruptors are against. Anytime you see a 3-base, fast 3-base Protoss, you kind of know Colossus are coming. So I'm wondering if the corruptors are strictly there for the Colossus right now, and he just plans to remax into broodlords.
Oh, well, there he goes, killing off his roaches. So they were for broodlords. He just had too much supply.
Okay.
And Stuzh is going to hit right as these broodlords are morphing.
Ooh, race against the clock here.
He's going to go into the spine crawl wall. I don't know if he can break through the spine crawl wall before those broodlords are in position.
Indeed. It looks like the spines might have bought him just enough time. Looks like Stuzh is going to be forced to retreat. There's a little bit of a fungal going on here. Stalkers do get caught up. However, the broodlords are moving in over the spine crawlers. It looks like there's going to be an engagement. There's not much ground force here for Yolo, and the Stalkers are able to get underneath the broodlords. Go ahead, sniping them off. The ground forces finally arrive for Yolo, but is it going to be enough? The Stalkers are doing a lot of damage. All the broodlords have been eliminated, and the Colossi are going down.
Ooh. Always feels painful when for a Zerg to watch that.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of... It wasn't your ideal composition, but it was getting pretty damn close. And to be that close and have it stripped away from you, Yolo has to be feeling a little rough. But he is 26 supply behind, and he's getting a good round on the Stalkers. If he can target off the Colossi so he can keep his other units alive long enough to kill the Stalkers, he will be in a fairly good position for a counterattack onto that 4th base.
He finally got rid of that last Colossus.
Yeah, so if he can get this next round of units in here on the ground forces of the Protoss, he may be able to hold off, but it's going to be a close situation here. Yeah,
that Immortal with it's got 17. It's had 17 hit points left. It racks up to 16 kills right now.
Absolutely, and we have a 20-kill Executor Archon, and he's having some fun with those drones as well. They are going to go ahead and target down the 3rd base now of Yolo, so Stuzh doing a lot of damage here. However, Yolo being smart and keeping his units back. Well, the Broodlord's actually a little bit vulnerable there. They are targeting down some Stalkers. Looks like he's going to try to force the Protoss back. However, Stuzh very smartly trying to lure the Broodlords over open ground so the Stalkers can take advantage of their vulnerability. Oh, and it looks like they're going to catch the Broodlords. This is his perfect position. He goes ahead, gets the Broodlord. So even though there's a fungal on the Stalkers and the Zealots can't get in position, he is in a great situation against this small clump of roaches.
Absolutely. I've got a quick emergency. I'll be right back, man.
Oh, absolutely. No problem. Hopefully your house isn't catching on fire like last time.
No, hopefully not.
Yolo dropping the well played. So, yeah. Matt, what are your thoughts on the end of that game there?
Well, I think really, in my opinion, what turned that fight around as I was watching it is when you saw, one, he brought the Warp Prism with him just in case those Colossus fell, most likely to bring out the units. Now, what really happened, though, in the fight, he did, tease a little bit with the infestors. They did catch some of them. But when the main Zerg army went to push back, you'll watch it. He goes and blinks. He does this nice blink right underneath the broodlords, pushing them back, and then he takes in micro straight onto the roaches. Even though he knows that his last Colossus is going to fall, he does tank down that main roach army, and that allows him to keep pushing.
Gotcha.
So right here, he engages the Spinecrawler wall. He's got everything. He's got the Observer going over, and we have this army down here by the base, and he's going to bring these infestors up. Now he killed about 4 Spinecrawlers there. They're going to get the fungal off, but he's only going to lose like 1 stalker there. He does have that warp prism there, and right here he catches those infestors immediately, pushes them back, blinks right underneath those broodlords, right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that cleans up most of that Zerg army. The corruptors are going to come in. But it's a little too late right now because he's already wiped out the infestors and the broodlords.
Right. I almost feel like if he had tried warping the broodlords over here at the 3rd, even though he would have lost the 4th, obviously, he would have been able to rally and then just rebuild it later on. And being a Zerg, rebuilding your drone count is nowhere near as hard as it is for the other races.
Definitely. And honestly, I think that blink is the reason he was able to win this. And right here, when the Zerglings go to get this around, he keeps the Colossus in the same spot. But look at this, though. Instead of worrying about those 2 corruptors, he's going to focus on the roaches because he knows if the roaches concave on him, he's going to lose that army.
Indeed. And actually, we do have a lot better upgrades for the stalkers than the roaches. So that's leaning itself to this victory here for Stuzh as well. I can definitely see why he was so happy to defeat this Grandmaster player who... made some good decisions, but ultimately, choosing to put the broodlords at the 4th rather than the 3rd when he saw that timing, that would be the death of him. Yeah.
And that really is that is the end game right there. When he warps in the final round of stalkers, it doesn't look like there's much the Zerg player can do here.
Yeah, if not for that warp in though, these broodlords wouldn't have died. Yeah.
Right there, he caught 2 of those before the morph was complete.
Or right as it completed. Yeah. Man,
sorry about that.
No problem, dude. Your house okay?
Oh, it had nothing related to my house. It's nothing major. It turned out not to be an emergency after all.
Yeah, in case anyone's wondering, the last time we casted, actually, there was a lightning storm or something. I don't know exactly.
No. It's even sillier than that.
Okay.
The electrical company was outside doing some work that morning on the box outside. All right. The worker didn't close the box properly when he was done. So later, in the middle of a rainstorm, apparently a raccoon climbed inside the box and chewed on some of the cables.
And that caused electric sparks in the middle of a cast, and we obviously had to reschedule. It basically sums up, what exactly happened there. But, hey guys, with that funny story and such an awesome game from Stuzh, we are going to move right on into game number 5. And in case you're wondering, this does include the top European player in the world, according to the WCS, Stefano! See you there.